Hello guys, today I'm going to talk about a video from Karl Kolensky from Secular Talk. Secular Talk, Karl Kolensky. Yeah, he was talking about the Trump debate where they were talking about Trump saying he was talking to the Proud Boys, stand down and stand back, and then something like that. So I want to give my opinion about Karl Kolensky video. Karl Kolensky is an amazing YouTuber. He has great point. Yeah, and even the point that I disagree with are still good points. So let's see what Carl has to say, and I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna give you my take on it, my humble take on it, because Carl is the expert. I'm gonna give you my humble take on it. Alright guys, thank you.
In the first debate between Trump and Biden, this is what everybody's talking about, and I think it's fair. I think for good reason people are talking about this. Trump was asked by Chris Wallace to denounce white supremacists and right-wing extremists. And here's his response.
You have repeatedly criticized the vice president for not specifically calling out Antifa and other left-wing extremist groups. But are you willing tonight to condemn white supremacists and militia groups and to say that they need to stand down and not add to the violence in a number of these cities, as we saw in Kenosha and as we've seen in Portland?
Sure,
are you prepared to specifically
do it?
Well, go ahead,
I would say almost everything I see is from the left wing, not from the right wing.
So what are you saying?
I'm willing to do anything. I want to see
Well,
peace.
then do it, sir.
Say it. Do it. Say it. You want to call him? What do you want to call him? Give me a name. Give me a
White
name.
supremacists and
Who would you like me to condemn?
white supremacists and right
Proud Boys, stand back and stand by. But I'll tell you what. Somebody's got to do something about Antifa and the left, because this is not a right-wing problem. This is a left-wing. This is a left-wing problem.
White supremacists. Antifa's an idea, not an organization.
Oh, you got it.
Not militia. That's what his FBI, FBI director said.
Well,
Damn. Okay, so we'll get to the elephant in the room in a second, but to Biden's point, he's actually correct. Our own intelligence agencies say that Antifa, as such, is not a centralized organization with a traditional hierarchy. It's just left-wingers who go out in the streets, and there's no leadership. There's no marching orders. There's no, as a lot of people on the right like to believe, like funding from George Soros or whatever. That's not a thing. It's just left-wingers who go out on the streets, and they're not taking orders from anybody. Now, does that mean that Antifa doesn't exist? No, of course not. Of course they exist. Duh. But it does mean that there is no traditional organization, and in order to really craft the narrative of them being such a terrible boogeyman, they feel like that's an important component. They feel like there has to be an organization, and so they pretend like there's an organization. And like they want to categorize them as a terror group, you know. But it's like, there's really no group. Can you do that? No. So Biden's actually correct on that. I know right-wingers think that's sort of like a distinction without a difference type point. I don't know. I think it's relevant. I think it's definitely relevant. But let's get to the main point here. Trump is asked to condemn white supremacists and militia groups. And he starts out by saying, sure, I'm willing to do that. Then he says, but I would say almost everything is from the left. Really. Almost everything is from the left. Listen, the data on this is overwhelming. And, you know, it's not like the intelligence agencies are fans of the left. In fact, they view part of their job as, like, making sure those people don't get power. But the data is there are way more right-wing terror attacks than left-wing terror attacks. That's not an opinion. That's a fact. Okay? Now, he could say, oh, well, I mean, like, very recently. Really? You don't see issues on the right as well? You don't see these people showing up with weapons, ready to pour fuel on the fire? You didn't see what happened with Kyle Rittenhouse? See, that's the thing. It never counts to them when it's somebody on the right. It never counts. Even if somebody ends up dead, doesn't count. Because they define everything. It was always self-defense for them. So that's why Trump says, everything I see is on the left. That's also because you watch One American News Network and Fox News. So you're unaware of anything that would contradict your narrative. Correct? So he goes from saying, sure, I'll condemn white supremacists and militia groups too, but to be honest, I would say almost everything is on the left. And then he says, name a group, and I'll denounce them. And they bring up Proud Boys, and he says, Proud Boys, stand back and stand by. But somebody's got to do something about Antifa. See, I would argue the next line is almost worse than the stand back and stand by. Because there would have been a case of like, yeah, he said that, but he didn't mean it in the way people are interpreting it. Like stand by as in like what? What do you mean stand by? He's going to give you orders and you're going to unleash if things don't go his way? Like what do you mean stand by? Could have argued, I tripped over my words, I really meant stand down, but I said stand by. There were ways to wiggle out of it. There was plausible deniability until the next line, where he said, but somebody's got to do something about Antifa. That is a green light to use violence against the left. That is a green light to use violence against the left. Proud Boys, stand back and stand by, but somebody's got to do something about Antifa.
You see what I told you guys? That's Carl, man. Good explanation. Amazing explanation. That is a very good analysis of the situation. Because for me, when Chris Wallace asked Trump, are you willing to denounce the white supremacy and to have them stand down? And Trump just responded, yeah, stand down. Yeah, I'm going. Yeah, stand out and stand by. I just can tell them that because Chris Wallace also made a mistake by putting it in the question, so Trump can hide under the question. Chris Wallace said, "Are you going to tell the Proud Boys to stand down or something?" And then Trump responded like that, "Shouldn't stand down." But when he put the other answer in the when he added the second half on the answer, that made it worse now because now he's saying, "But somebody got to do something about Antifa." So now this is what you're telling me. You have your private military guys with big guns and AR-15, and you're telling them to stand down, stand by, just stand by. We got to do something about Antifa because if Antifa keeps going buck wild and we cannot do nothing about it, Proud Boys, you guys got to raise up and kick them out. You see what's going on? So it's a very difficult situation. It's like that's what's going on. So that's a very good analysis from Carl, and I like it. But I think the only thing is like what I feel also, I hate to say this, Chris Wallace, by asking the question, would you tell your people to stand out? That messes up the thing. I'm gonna go back to that one point so that you can see what I'm talking about. That was a mistake from Chris Wallace, I think, or maybe it wasn't. It's ambiguous. It's not making it clear. You gotta ask a specific question. Just denounce the Proud Boy. Denounce white supremacy. Don't say stand down. I'm gonna show you what I'm saying. Look at it for a second. Hold on.
Out Antifa and other left-wing extremist groups. But are you willing tonight to condemn white supremacists and militia groups and to say that they need to stand down and not add to the violence in a number of these cities, as we saw in Kenosha and as we've seen in Portland?
Sure,
are you prepared to
that,
specifically
do it? I would say almost everything I see is from the left wing, not from the right wing.
So what are you saying?
I'm willing to do anything. I want to see peace.
Then do it, sir.
Say it. Do it. Say it. You want to call them? What do you want to call them? Give me a name. Give me a
white
name.
Supremacists and
white
supremacists and right
Proud Boys. Stand back and stand by. But I'll tell you what. Somebody's got to do something about Antifa.
So you see, guys, like Chris Wallace told them that are you willing to tell the Proud Boy, the white supremacy, to stand down? Now Trump responded by saying, "Oh yeah, Proud Boy, stand back and stand by." Of course, he played with the word a little bit, but Chris Wallace started the question. He gave that one point.